If you could ban one phrase parents yell from the sideline, what would it be?
Has to be "come on, ref." That extra support coming from the sideline, which is instructional, it's just not needed.
There's so many people listening right now going, "Oh."
Are you feeling guilty?
What do you want to be better at? And just keep working at being better at that. And that drives motivation. And when motivation's high, joy comes in. And when joy comes in, freedom comes in. And when freedom comes in, you play beautifully.
Welcome to Parents We've Met, where every guest, expert and coach is a parent themselves who has their own magical and messy parenting journey going on. And of course, us hosts too. Now, I'm Dayna, and to my left is my cheerleader, my constant in my parenting gig, Jenny Hale. Always cool to hang out with you on the couch.
It is.
And today on the hot seat, we have got in studio a special guest, a bit of an expert. He is a counsellor with a Master of Counselling Studies and over 20 years of experience working with athletes across school, community and professional sports settings. He was Coaching and Programs Development Manager for the New Zealand Breakers. He's also served as CEO of Auckland Basketball for several years. Sideline Advisor is where you'll find him online, but today we are very lucky to have him in studio with us. Welcome, Dave Mackay. Lovely to have you with us. I just felt like I needed to let all the people know all the cool things you've been doing. So great to have you in the studio with us today. Appreciate your time.
Welcome, Dave. And I'm really interested in this Sideline Advisor. What do people come to you for? What kind of advice?
Well, yeah, sideline hopefully gives it away a little bit. I'm sort of the cheerleader for a number of people, parents and children. So Sideline Advisor is my way of using my counselling studies to actually make it practical and get it out there in the world of sport. I mostly work with the client being the athlete, the child in a lot of cases. But you know, when a child comes to my room, there's a parent attachment too. That's their team. So a lot of my education is actually educating and guiding the parents and supporting them, whilst most of my work face-to-face is with the kids or the athletes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what sort of things would a parent be bringing their child to you about?
Well, it's age dependent, but usually it's performance-related anxiety, if you want to use the big words. So kids are playing, pressure's getting a little bit higher. Mum and dad can sense the stress. The car ride home's getting a little bit more intense. The joy's sucking out of the room. So they're coming to me for probably the guidance part, the sort of it's okay, giving them some tools to be able to deal with that pressure, to try and get the enjoyment back into sport.
Cool.
Dave, you're also Director of Sport at a college in Auckland. What does that role entail?
Yeah, that's a busy one. Director of Sport being sort of overseeing the sports program at the school I work at. We have a large number of participants in the school space, but it's really just offering the opportunity in an educational setting for sport to be a big part of those kids' lives. While schools are primarily there to offer education, I think sport offers a more rounded sort of approach, and particularly to boys. They just love the sport. I'm at a boys' school. So it just gives a real sense of purpose, belonging, and more to the classroom than just going to school every day. So
I reckon that's what I needed when I was back at school.
Need more sports?
Well, yeah, someone who was, just to make sports a bigger thing. And, you know, that's what I was attracted to at school, much more than maths or science. You know, it might have helped me have more enjoyment.
What sort of sport would you have done?
Oh, hurdles, cross country, equestrian, yeah, that kind of thing. Yeah, I was really into those sort of things. I love that about school. So that would have been really nice. You've said that you love the unique experiences and opportunities that school sport provides. So tell us a bit more about that.
Well, I think when you get older, you look back at school and you remember things of usually the social connections. You don't remember the English class or the maths class, and I say that respectfully to my colleagues, but you remember the trips. You remember the winning and the losing with your mates. You remember those things. And so for me, being involved in school sport, when we go away on trips, tournaments, those things are really important to me. Like, I really want those experiences to be a lifelong memory for the kids. So, you know, you go to a tournament, there's only going to be one winner at the end of the week. So for me, it's about how can I make that week-long experience more than just the results, because they'll remember those, you know, when they're at the pub having a Fanta with their mates when they're 40, they'll be talking about how great they were back in the day. And I think it's our responsibility as adults in that context to actually make sure that the memories are there more so than anything else.
Love that.
So cool. Now, with experts, we like to do a bit of a quick fire at the start of the chats just to throw a lot of ideas out there and for the listeners and watchers to kind of know some of the things we're going to cover. So I've got a few questions to put your way. What is the single most important job of a parent on the sideline?
On the sideline, it's just to be present and not have any influence. Let their child just play. Yep.
All right.
Silent if you have to.
I love it.
All right. If you could ban one phrase parents yell from the sideline, what would it be?
Oh, it has to be, come on, ref. Yeah.
Come on, ref. What's one thing parents can do this week to support their child's sports confidence?
Yeah, confidence is a big one. So the quick fire answer to that is just let them know that it's just sport. It's not defining who they are or what they are. It's just sport. Enjoy it for what it is.
Cool. What's the job of a coach that parents sometimes accidentally take over?
Coaching. There's nothing more frustrating as a coach when you hear parents, probably, well-intended, encouraging, Dayna, pass the ball, Dayna, do this. It's like you sort of turn around and look and try to give them the eye as like, we don't need your help, thanks. We worked pretty hard this week to train. So it's usually that extra support coming from the sideline, which is instructional. It's just not needed.
There's so many people listening right now going, oh.
Are you feeling guilty?
I know, so many things. What's a myth about high performance sport you wish parents knew wasn't true?
Yeah, well, I guess when you have a successful 12-year-old and they're dominant, that doesn't mean they're professional. And it doesn't mean they will be a professional, and you shouldn't have any sort of communication with them around, hey, you're really good, you could be a professional cricket player or whatever. The other side of that, though, is being a professional sports person is tough. It's not glamorous. It's actually a lot of your life is taken away from you. I'm looking at the Breakers' schedule. They're away on Christmas Day. They're away on New Year's Day. They're away from their families a lot, and that's not glamorous at all. So what you see on TV isn't necessarily the daily grind that these people go through to be professional sports people.
What's one New Zealand sideline habit we should leave behind?
Well, I think it's that sideline criticism of what's happening out on the field. Again, the refs are often targeted for that. And when we're talking youth sport, I remember my son playing rugby, and no one in our team had wanted to ref. I don't know how to ref rugby, but I was the only one available and went out there and did a pretty average job. I'm not saying I was great, but the abuse I got from the sideline was horrific, and it's not comfortable. It's not needed.
Yeah. What's one trait you see in kids who thrive long-term in sport?
The biggest trait is that they just enjoy what they do, and you can see that. It's pure enjoyment. It's their body language, the smiles. They have fun. You can just see it. The ones who get too serious too soon are the ones that will ultimately, in most cases, fail or live to regret what they did through their youth. Yeah. Because
that's my next question. What's one trait that often holds them back? Would it be that just too serious?
Too serious too soon, yeah.
What's one sign a child has been pushed too hard?
Often when their schedule is driven purely by their parents. And I see it all the time. Car pulls up, mum, dad hops out, kid drags them behind them. They just don't want to be there. And it comes down to the expectations. And when kids live under too much expectation, they will ultimately fail. Because they'll never meet what they perceive, not always what is intended, the parents or the coaches or the environment's expectations on them. And it's really quite sad to see that, especially at the younger ages, like when you see a 12-year-old being dragged out of a car, and this is your schedule, this is what you're doing, because I know that this will make you successful. They live in that dream of, you have to do this to get to this level, and the reality is if they're good, they'll get there most of the time, and if they're not, they won't. And we just have to be mindful of those expectations we put on our kids.
I'm going to ask one more question, because Jenny said that she wished she did more sports at school. You always meeting athletes, looking at body types, what sport they're good at. Jenny and I, what sport do you think we could have played?
Wow, definitely high performance. So like we're going right to the top. I'd say Jenny would be a phenomenal middle distance runner.
Ooh,
but I probably got a little bit of inside knowledge there. Dayna, I think, wow, multi-talented. I think I would go,
I'm ready to laugh. I don't know why.
I'll go water polo.
Water polo?
Yep.
Yeah.
My sister's played water polo.
Yeah. I don't know why, but I'm sensing water polo.
I think I'm feisty. I feel like you've got to be feisty to play water polo.
I didn't say anything. I just said...
All right, your question, Jenny.
My turn. I'm a parent and a grandparent, and I've been on the sideline, Dave, and probably said things, really encouraging things, I like to think. But what do you think it is about parents? Are they trying to sometimes live through their kids when their kids are on the sports field? It seems like there's a bit of a dynamic going on.
It comes down to, I don't think the term living through your child, it's relevant in some cases, but I think it's more the emotional feeling and attachment you have. Like, you feel everything for your child. They succeed, you love it, you're filled with joy, you're blossoming on the sideline. They drop the ball and everyone's like, oh, and then you feel that and you feel for them. Like, my boy plays cricket. It's a terrible sport in that sense. Like, he's batting, and every single ball he faces when he's a batter, my heart rate must be out. And I've watched him play for years, but it doesn't change. So you ride the highs and lows of emotion with your children, and you try and hide it, but let's be real, you can't. It's inside of you. So I guess it's dealing with that and being able to calm that down in ourselves as parents. That's the critical part.
We had a neuroscience educator, Catherine Burkett, on last year, and she was talking about if you have a child and the parent, and you're looking at the brain, all the things are on monitoring, that if the child, pretend to hurt their finger or something, it lights up the same in the brain. It's so amazing. So it makes sense that we're so attached and we feel things so deeply when our kid is facing something that's stressful.
I think that's really helpful.
Yeah.
How do you know when to push your kids or nudge? I like to use the word nudge, and when to hold back, because parents often don't know when their child's a bit reluctant to continue in a sport. And I know this will be age related, but when to, give some enthusiasm and some support, and when to allow them to step back out.
I guess you've got to remind yourself, your child better than anyone else does. So you'll know their tendencies, whether they need a little nudge, and sometimes a little nudge is healthy. I mean being a pushy parent. Again, if we're speaking from a dad's perspective, from my own perspective, it's my son loves sport, but sometimes he just needs that little encouragement to get in it. And I know once he's in it, he'll be fine. And then when he's overwhelmed, you sort of got to know that too. So you need to go, okay, I can see you're struggling with this right now. Do you actually need to just step back and have a break? But usually the start of the season's that critical part, just getting your kid to get in the tent. And then the pulling back part is the opposite, is when the season's happening. Maybe there's too much stress, maybe too much going on. It's just going back to knowing your child better than anyone and then making that read. But at the start of the season, kids will be nervous, turning up to trials or turning up to a new environment when they don't know anyone. That's when they do need encouragement. Otherwise, they will check the easy option and not want to do it. So it's okay to push at that point, I think, but it's also not okay to push once they're in there and you can see they still haven't found comfort in it.
That's helpful. I think, like from primary, you're starting, you want your kid to have as many opportunities as possible. So it's really cool they get to try so many sports. Yeah. And I suppose at that age, it's more about just giving things a go and having fun.
Yeah.
Are there different stages, as they get older, that there's changes or things that we should be aware of?
I mean, primary school, right through to, I believe, unfortunately, it's getting a little bit younger. The high performance mentality is getting younger and younger. But if we keep it into sort of primary school, they've got to try everything. And you got to remember that success for a child at primary school might be scoring a basket in basketball. They might score one point, and they don't care if they won or lost. They'll remember scoring that point, and that's what they want to be praised for. So every kid should just enjoy sport, play as much as they can, and they'll find their unique sport that they actually love. And every time I meet with an athlete, it's really interesting because I'll say, well, why did you start playing that sport? And particularly the more bespoke ones. Like, well, how did you get into fencing? How did you get into archery? So, I picked up a bow one day and I just loved it. And so you've got to let kids explore, otherwise they'll never find what they really want to do. As they get older, though, obviously the pressures change, selections change, it becomes a bit more serious, and that's all usually adult-driven pressure. And the critical point for me is when they're sort of 15, 16. That's when it gets quite probably over-serious. Kids will sort of go through this decision-making process in their own minds as, am I good enough? and because they're very good at comparing themselves. I use the example of if we had 30 kids at a trial, you wouldn't even need a coach to actually pick the team. You could just give the clipboard to any one of those kids and they'll know 1 to 30. They could rank those kids and they'll be pretty accurate. They actually know. They're very good at looking around going, Jenny's better than me and Dayna's better than me. So there's that. They know this. So that's the critical age where they start to make their own decisions, and that's where parents get a little bit concerned. It's like, oh no, they're going to give up and they're going to quit their sport. They're so good at it. We have to just be working with them, not against them in that space. Once they get to 18, they really just need to make their own decisions without mum and dad encouraging them or telling them anything.
Poor teenagers.
It's tough.
There's a lot going on.
It's so hard. Like, how am I unique? How do I fit in the world? You know, and all that comparison. It's hard. I've got 2 primary age kids, and I had to smile when you're talking about, you know, when they're beginning and just what success looks like. My daughter's been playing football, and they've been smashed, you know, like it's sort of, you know, 16-1. But quite often at the end, they'll turn around and go, did we win?
Yeah.
I love it.
That's
like,
great.
That's lovely. Okay, Dave, could you talk us through what is and what isn't a parent's role when it comes to supporting their kids, encouraging their kids? You know, what should they do? Let's have some clarity around this is good to do, this isn't so good to do.
Yeah, well, the number one is in the not-to-do list is coach. And I'm a bit of a hypocrite saying that because I actually coach my own son's team, and that's a difficulty for another conversation probably. But just let them play. As simple as that sounds, it's really hard to do. And that includes going to the match, the dinner table at home, or the ride home, as we've heard. You've got to be careful just to let them explore, let them fail. Our job as a parent is to ultimately love them and let them know that it doesn't matter what happened in that game, whether you're great or not, I'll be happy for you. Either way, I love you no matter what. And let the adults who are giving up their time, usually voluntary, to coach your child, let them do their job, and your job is just to be the parent. So it's hard. Like there's been times I've got that very wrong, where I've gone home and I've got my own emotions building up inside me, like, why did you do that? Or you wouldn't do this, and you want to spill it out, and occasionally it does, and that's not a good place. It's ugly. So I often we have a rule at home directly after a match, we don't talk about it as much as I want to, because my coach's hat's on, my parents' hat's on, my analytical hat's on. I'm trying to figure out the answers of what went wrong. But you got to remember that I've got emotions too, and sometimes they don't align. So we have a rule, we don't talk about the game until they come, the next day, and then when they come to me. So if my son wants to talk about it, he can come talk to me about it, but I won't talk to him about it because it's never a positive thing.
It's awesome advice, because I can imagine some of those car rides home when mum or dad are just laying into all the things they could have done or should have done, can really sour things, and just, you know, pausing and letting that whole quite a few hours pass, and then waiting for a child to actually come to you.
Yeah.
It's really helpful.
So good. You've also said parents' job, provide the practical support, like, you know, equipment, transport they need, create a positive environment, encouraging, emotional support through disappointment. I mean, that's the thing too, seeing your child disappointed, you know, and they practice so hard. Being a good role model. Yep. Yeah. Thanking the coach.
Yep.
Cheering for the other team. Like, should we be doing that? Especially when they're younger, we probably should be.
Yeah.
Promote healthy habits. So looking after their sleep, nutrition.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the best way to sort of calm a boy down is just to feed him. You know, are you hungry? Let's go get some food. And just
you're hangry.
Yeah. Well, it just takes away their focus from what's just happened. And sport's a great teacher, isn't it? Like winning and losing. Winning's great, but when you go to a game, there's going to be one of each. Yeah. And sometimes you're going to be on the losing side. And if you don't teach them how to deal with losing, you're actually building up massive anxieties that they just don't need to carry with them. So processing loss and how to deal with losses, that's where sport's a fantastic teacher. You know, you've got, you didn't play well today. That doesn't mean you're a terrible player. It just means that today wasn't your day. And sort of rationalizing that with them helps them to walk away going, oh yeah, it's okay. I can live with that. I can go, go have a feed, go to bed, wake up, I'll still be fine.
Yeah. You talked about too building autonomy, which I think is really important, because I know I clean my kids' football boots and I shouldn't be. Like that's their thing. They, you're playing the game, you clean your boots.
Yep.
tell me off and tell us parents what we should be taking our hands off and allowing our kids to pack their bag, get their water bottle. If you don't have water, you're going to be thirsty at the game.
No, it's natural though, isn't it? It's like we live the emotion. We want them to be successful, so we want to do everything for them. Like, we don't want them to fail, but maybe we should let them fail because that's how they learn. So if they forget their water bottle, well, you've forgotten your water bottle. What's the consequence of that? And so on. So yeah, if we can use sport to teach our kids how to pack their bag and be organised and have everything ready, that autonomy is fantastic, because when they become adults, then we're not going to be there for them. So use sport as a teacher, and a vehicle for all these things we can have conversations about, which taking risk, did you try to do something you haven't done before? Why not? Like, get them to explore in sport. It's just very nice boundaries, isn't it, that we can do it. There's plenty of other ways teenagers particularly can explore risk, but sport, they can do it in a fairly safe manner.
True.
I'm thinking of losing well, what you mentioned about that, because I don't think, especially in the coaching room, I often feel parents are great at celebrating with their kids, and winning or improving is easy to do when you can call out the gold on that. Have you got any special ways that you'd guide parents through? How do you help your kids really lose well, so they're not walking onto a field with one thing in mind, which is going to be great if they win and terrible if they lose?
I guess that's where the role modelling comes in, right? If we behave badly in the sideline and how we respond and look for excuses or blame, like, the coach didn't put you in, or that guy didn't do this, or whatever. If we look for blame and we don't role model well, our kids will be a mirror of that. It's very clear to see the behaviours of children are often a mirror of their parents. So if we show humility, like, that's why shaking the opposition's hand, you might not want to do that, of course not. They've just beaten you and they're probably jumping up and down and celebrating. But, from a coach's perspective, it's hard to lose, but you have to sometimes just stop and pause and go, fair game, and then go and show some humility by shaking hands and saying, you were better than us today, and that's okay. Like, the thing about winning in sport is that it's a great short-term buzz. It's like, wow, we won, but in 2 weeks' time, no one's going to remember who won. When you lose, it's like that negative emotion. It sits with you longer. Like, I still remember games I've lost 20 years ago, and they still eat me up eat me at night. But it's teaching the kids that it's okay. It's just part of the journey. If you're going to be involved in sport, you're going to lose. And if you don't deal with it well, then that's actually part of the teaching of adults to our children.
Yeah,
that's good.
I always don't want to share too much about my own children here because we're like, Mum. But one of my children, I think because they're feeling so low, that it makes them feel better if they can go, pointing at other people and why the team failed. Like, they don't want to look at themselves. I mean, any advice on that? When it's like, they didn't play well and they should have passed, and it's all this stuff out there because I know they're feeling it deeply and they're trying to. If I point the fingers there, then I don't feel as bad. Yeah,
I mean, it's like anything in life. It's self-reflection. If you can, I always call it the mirror test. Look in the mirror and ask yourself, what could have you done differently? Maybe that would have helped, maybe it wouldn't have. But you can't control other people. When we talk about in sport controlling the controllables, it's really yourself. Like, how can you manage your own emotions? How can you manage your response? A big thing I've always pushed with my own children in sport is you can control the effort you put in. You can't control the result. So if you're working really hard and you've put everything you can into it and with the right attitude and all those other positive things, there is no judgment of you. Like, you've done all you could and you didn't win today. That's fine. So the mirror test is all about look in the mirror and judge yourself and ask yourself some questions first. Don't blame others. You have no right to do that. So working through that is a great teacher.
And it's probably easier when you're part of a team when you lose. But then I suppose tennis and things like that's got to be so much harder when it's just you.
Yeah.
I mean, do you find that, like, you have a lot of people coming that are doing sports where it's all on their shoulders?
Yeah, individual sports are harder, 100%. Team has the social element, it has the camaraderie, it's the you lose together, win together. Tennis is, I call it, you're on an island. It's you and yourself, and there's, tennis is probably of all sports one of the most difficult. But I guess in tennis, again, it comes down to just a natural ability, especially at the younger age, that the better players just win. It doesn't mean you haven't tried. So if you only judge the kid on their performances, as in wins and losses, it's not a healthy place to be. So I think the role of the parent in individual sports is to make sure that they're not judging on anything to do with performance, and it's all to do with progression, attitude, and effort.
Cool. That's wonderful. Dave, I'm interested in what did you learn about parenting and using sports as a tool from your own parents?
My own parents? Yeah, so my parents gave me like freedom to choose. Like, whatever sport you want to play, we'll support you. I thought that's something that I've carried through into my parenting. It's like, I did ban rowing, hockey goalie, and swimming. So it's a ban list. But my parents gave me the autonomy to choose whatever sport, and they would support me and give me whatever I needed to do that. So I think that was fantastic. And the other thing that always sticks with me, and I've carried it through into my own parenting, is when I asked Dad, Dad, can we go play tennis after he's had a long day at work and I knew he was tired, he'd always say yes. So my son, like, he's 17 now, and the last 3 nights at 9:15, I'm on the couch watching Netflix, and it's so good. And he's like, Dad, can we go to the weights room? I'm like, yeah, yes, we can. Now, do I want to go to the weights room? Not really, but I know that he needs that physical outlet, and my job as a parent is to be there for him. I mean, who's more important, Netflix or my son? So it's that get over yourself. Yeah. Your job is to parent and to say yes.
Awesome. Can you tell us about a tradition you have in your family about sharing the magic moment of a game? Is there anything you do that, celebrates that?
Yeah, so I'm a big believer in, and it's probably a wider answer to your question, is I don't believe in player of the day. A lot of clubs do it, usually because McDonald's gives you a free voucher or whatever. They hope they're not a sponsor. I call it the magic moment, and my wife and I have always done this with our children, and we encourage teams that we've been involved in to do the same. So within a team sport, every child will have something that's a magic moment to them. And if you ask them, what was your magic moment today? It might not be what you thought it was, but they'll come up with something. I ran and did this, or I did this, so I made this pass. And that's great. And then you celebrate that. You celebrate what they believe was their magic moment. Now, the reason I use that instead of a player of the day, if I'm coaching, when I was coaching a young team, is usually the best player in a primary school team is a bigger, stronger, fitter, faster kid. And if you're being, honest about it, they'll be the player of the day every week. Now, as we know, that's not fair. You can't do that. But every single kid in the team will have a moment, if you're aware of it, where they've done something maybe a little bit better than they did last week. And maybe it's they just caught the ball. Fantastic, You're the magic. This is my magic moment today. And you celebrate success for the individual. So for our children, we'd always ask them, what was your magic moment today? Win or lose, we'd ask that question. And then we'd only focus on what they said in response.
I was talking to your wife, and she said sometimes your kids will actually ask you on the sideline, you were watching, what was your magic moment that you saw, which I think is really cool as well. Like, what a positive conversation that's sort of going around.
That still happens now, and he's 17 years old.
Yeah, it's lovely. It's the start of a new year and sports, and we're setting goals. We're focused on different things we want to achieve. Any tips on goal setting or what we should do around that?
Yeah, so against the grain a little bit, I don't believe in setting goals. And, there is a place for it. But I sort of changed the wording or the focus of it to be, what are you focusing on? What are your focus points? Maybe there's 2 or 3 of those things that you can sort of measure. Like, okay, I'm focusing on improving my ability to shoot with my right hand or do a certain skill. That's great. Now, the reason I'm a sort of don't say set a goal is I don't want a definitive measure on that. I want you to aspire to be as good as you can shooting with your right hand and just continuing to work on that. Because it's aspirational, it's getting better never stops. And I always say that to my athletes. You just keep working hard and you get better and better, and it's maybe slow, but you are going to get there. So, yes, there's things like team goals, but individually it's more about what do you want to be better at, and just keep working at being better at that. And then who knows where you end up. You may end up a lot further down the road than you ever expected to be. So, try to live by more aspiration, and that drives motivation. And when motivation's high, joy comes in. And when joy comes in, freedom comes in. And when freedom comes in, you play beautifully and usually better than you would if you're stressed.
It's
So
such it just feels a lot freer to get your eyes off something definitive, but to improve or get better at. I think I'll put that on my New Year's things to do. Dave, have we missed anything in this little chat that we've had that you would like to say? Anything else that you'd want to say to parents? Have you got a last word?
I think for parents is, we say this all the time in parent conversations, don't we? The years are going by so fast. Just enjoy watching the kids play. As much as you want them just to enjoy the freedom of playing, we need to experience that freedom of just joy, watching our kids and having our heart filled that they are participating in sport. And that's where taking outcome out of it is so important. It's not about the results. No one's going to care about the results next year, 2 years ago, whatever. Winning is nice. It gives us a nice feeling. But at the end of the day, if we can watch our child play sport and find pure joy in that moment, we're probably winning as parents, and they will feel that. And so I'll finish on, the kids notice you. They'll know where you are. They'll know where you're standing. If you're hiding under the tree, they'll still know you're there. And they'll read your body language, and they'll make an assessment on how they perceive you feel about them after the match based on what they're sensing from you. And I learned that the hard way with my son. I have quite an aloof face and maybe not that emotional, and that's just the way I was born. But I remember after a game of basketball, he said, "Dad, are you upset with me?" And I'm like, "No, I'm not upset. Why do you say that?" And he said, "Oh, you just look really upset with me." And I was like, "Oh," and that was a real dawning thing for me. I was like, try and smile more and maybe, wear dark glasses. But, I just need to relax when I'm watching him, because I probably was a little bit tense. Come on, I really want you to do well. And, he made a shot. Oh, no, he missed a shot. So just relax and enjoy.
So good. Jenny always says that kids are great observers but not the best interpreters, so that totally
100%, that's it.
That goes with that. Dave, thank you so much. This is so good. I remember filming my son's football game to send to my in-laws who live in Australia and watching it back and being horrified how much I talked and gave instructions. Get back, pass them. And that was a really a bit of a moment for me to go, Dayna, you need to do less. And maybe people listening, this could be a bit of a moment of actually, what is my body language saying on the sideline? How am I supporting my kids? Are they finding joy? Am I taking away some of that joy? So such a great conversation.
So good.
If people want to find out more about your work, where can they go?
SidelineAdvisor.nz, and then it sort of has my offerings of what I do for parents and for sports people as well. I'm
following you on Instagram as well, because it's great getting these little pockets of little thoughts and bits. So have a look on there as well. ParentingPlace.nz is where you find Jenny and I and our courses and coaching and so many great articles. So come and hang out with us there. Thanks for hanging out.
Awesome. Thank you.